Used to work as a meter reader for the county about 5 years ago, give or take. When I tell you, it is the most boring job imaginable. Drive around rural routes, hop fences, read meters tucked behind people's houses. Half the time, they're buried in ivy or behind some busted grill that no one has used since 2003. Kinda liked it though. No coworkers breathing down your neck. No customers yelling at you. Just you, a clipboard, and a pair of boots. Got assigned a route one morning, way past the edge of town. Outward GPS gets spotty, and road turns to gravel. Old family plots, hobby farms, places where people don't lock their doors because the closest neighbor is a cornfield. First few houses are normal. A couple yappy dogs. A guy in his bathrobe asking if I'm from the county, the usual. Then I hit this address, marked as unoccupied on the sheet. Still have to check the meter, even if nobody lives there. Billing protocol or whatever. Pull up to the place and immediately get a weird feeling. Small single-story farmhouse sitting in a patch of overgrown weeds. Driveway cracked and half covered in vines. House looks abandoned, but not in a collapsed, condemned kind of way. More like someone boarded it up and just walked away. Park the truck by the front gate. Gate is chained shut, but the lock is rusted to hell. Hop it easy. Meter is supposed to be around the back porch. Walk past a rusted out swing set that looks like it has not been moved since the 90s. Backyard is a mess. Garden tools left in the grass. A cracked kiddie pool full of leaves. One of those plastic big wheels half melted by the sun. Get to the back porch. Crawl space door is just hanging there, crooked. It is supposed to be latched shut. This one is cracked open, maybe about 6 inches. Shine flashlight into the gap. Dark at first, just dirt and cobwebs as far as the eye can see. Then I see them. Rows of black, plastic milk crates, stacked 3 high, stretching way further back than the crawl space should go. They look too neat. Perfect grid, spaced evenly, like someone spent real time setting this up. Every crate packed with VHS tapes. Hundreds of them. No labels and no markings, just blank, black plastic. Crouch there, staring for a minute, brain trying to file it under weird junk hoarder stuff. Then I see something written inside the door. Sharpie, all caps. Not for you. Immediate goosebumps. Didn't even bother taking the meter photo like I am supposed to. Snapped the number, stood up too fast, and nearly tripped walking backwards. Got to the truck and just sat there with the door open, trying to settle my hands. Drive a couple miles before pulling over to log the reading. Half consider calling it in, but what do I say? Hey boss, found 100 unlabeled tapes under a house and a passive-aggressive Sharpie message. Doesn't sound great out loud. Let it go. Until a week or so later, I am back at the depot. Hear 2 older guys talking over coffee. They are swapping weird stories from the field, like always. Then one of them mentions a call from a sheriff's deputy. Same road I was on, same house. Someone apparently trespassed and found the crawl space wide open. Only this time, no crates, no tapes, nothing at all under the house. Except for just one thing. Some kind of weird black stain stretching across the floor. They said it was really strange, like some kind of goo. Looked recent too. I did not say anything, just sipped my coffee and stared at the table. I checked my meter sheet later. The house was scrubbed from the route entirely. No reassignment, just gone. I don't drive that direction anymore. Didn't quit the job or anything, but I swap with another guy anytime that side of the county comes up. He doesn't ask why. I think maybe he's got his own story. A couple weeks pass, still thinking about the crawl space more than I want to admit. Tried to tell myself it was just junk. Weird, but not dangerous at all. Except it didn't feel like junk. It felt curated, like some kind of collection, intentional. And that warning, not for you, was not just a hoarder being territorial. It was too direct, too personal. Like they were expecting someone on that route to pick it up. Like they knew someone else might end up on that route and in that place. One night, I'm out with a friend who used to work local law enforcement. We are drinking, swapping stories. He asks if I ever come across anything sketchy on the job. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time, and by now, we're both pretty sloshed, so I am more than happy to start talking. I can't really help myself if I'm honest, once I've had a couple of drinks. I bring up the house, just to see if there is a flicker of recognition. As soon as I describe the tapes, he gets real quiet. Doesn't interrupt, just stares at his drink. When I finish, he leans in and says, "That place, that was not the first." Now I'm locked in. He tells me off the record about a property 2 counties over. Same thing. Unoccupied home, with storage. Someone finds it by accident. Next week it's gone. Cleaned out like nothing was ever there. The guy who found it did not report it right away. Came back later to show a friend. House was empty. Not cleared or burglarized or anything like that. Empty like broom swept clean. Like a team went through with instructions. Told myself I would leave it alone after that. But I didn't. Started casually asking around the depot, pretending I was just really into urban exploring or whatever. A couple guys mentioned weird meter locations they had stumbled into. Unlabeled circuit breaker panels. Houses with basements that weren't on any plans. One guy said he found a fuse box connected to nothing. No wires and no mains. Just a metal case with a deadbolt. Started checking public records in my downtime. That house? No record of recent sale. No permit history. Last listed owner died in 1993. Property tax paid by some holding company with a P.O. box in Delaware. Googled the company. 0 web presence. Like it exists only to own properties. Found a few others under the same name. Mostly empty lots or condemned structures. All scattered across rural areas. Always isolated. Started mapping them. Noticed something weird. They are spaced out just far enough that each one could be visited by a different meter reader on a rotating schedule. No overlap, no patterns, unless you had access to multiple counties' logs. Which I didn't. Not personally anyway, but I knew a guy who did. Old friend from a previous job, now works data entry for the state utility grid. I gave him a list of addresses. Told him I'm looking for weird consumption anomalies for a personal project. He thinks I'm a dork, but checks anyway. Calls me back 2 days later. Says he pulled usage reports. Every single address I gave him shows 0 usage, going back years. But every one of them, still active accounts, still paying service fees. No service calls, no repairs, no meter replacements. Just sitting there, on the books, but quiet, seemingly collecting dust. He asks if I am going to publish something about it. Tell him I am just curious. He does not press, but he tells me to be careful. I try to drop it again. Then a month later, I get reassigned a different route temporarily. Guess what pops up on the list? New property, same holding company. I recognize the name immediately. This one is not a farmhouse. It's a prefab unit on a dirt lot, miles off the highway. No driveway or mailbox or anything like that. Just coordinates and a metal gate, half buried in brush. Feel sick pulling up to it. Whole place is too quiet. No insects or wind, just heat and silence. I go through the motions. Walk around the unit, looking for the meter. Find it behind a fake-looking shrub, mounted to the wall. Digital reader. Just says all zeros. Then I notice the basement hatch. Slightly ajar, same as last time. I don't go down. I already know what I will find. Or at least, I think I do. I hope those tapes are the worst thing down there. Instead, I take out my phone and try to take a photo. Camera freezes, like actually crashes. phone restarts itself without warning, like there's some kind of interference or something. When it boots back up, my fucking stupid shitty iPhone decided to start the scheduled update that I kept pressing later on. It had chosen the worst fucking time, and with the connection out here, it looked like it was going to take forever, so I just gave up. I get in my truck and drive straight back to the depot. Don't finish the route. Turn in my sheet with a blank line for that property. Nobody even asks me or brings it up or asks me where that reading is. That night, I call the number listed for the holding company, just to say. Disconnected, of course. Next morning, my route is back to normal. No explanation. That prefab house never appears on the log again. Coworkers do not mention it. It's like it was never there. Sometimes I think about trying to track them all down. Start a blog, post the coordinates, crowdsource it. Then I remember the spray-painted warning, and how fast they cleaned out the last place, and how nothing about this feels like a ghost story. It doesn't feel paranormal at all. It feels too neat, too methodical and planned, like this has been a long-running operation. I still have that crawl space scribbled in my notes. Still remember the rows of black crates, the cold smell of dirt, and that feeling in my gut when I saw those words. My only question is, what the fuck was on those tapes that made them so important? And also, was it only tapes, or were there perhaps other things in some of the other places? Like I said, the second place I went to, I did not have the stomach to go down there and check. I was afraid of what I would or wouldn't find. If they were just VHS tapes in every location, I don't know why someone would go to all of the effort to do this, to plan this. It just doesn't make sense. Especially when there's such a massive risk that some random person might take them. I mean, I don't know. I just really don't know, X. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. I've had 4 different paranormal encounters. Here goes. Be me. Be 18 years old. Woods in South Central Louisiana. Just sitting in the truck with 4 buddies, playing poker on the center console. It gets pretty dark, probably around 10 p.m. Suddenly, in a flash, 2 Civil War era soldiers popped up in our truck and looked as if they were walking through the truck, in between front seats and back seats, like it was not there. We all froze and looked at each other for confirmation of that actually happening. Haul 10 gallons of ass out of there. Be me, 9 years old. Still somehow remember this, clear as day. Driving down the road on the way home with Big Sis and Mom. Just before we get to the overpass, which is right in front of our neighborhood, we see it. Again, like a flash, a figure, a little girl, maybe 5 years old, on the smallest little tricycle. Mom slams on the brakes. Girl is gone. Before we can do the confirmation look, a young man, around 18, pops up, pointing to the house on our right. Stayed longer than the little girl, but left us quick as well. Then we all look at each other, still occasionally bring it up. Haven't heard of any odd things happening with that home, but I am not going in it, fucking ever. Be me, 16, with the same friends as in my first account. Same truck, different ones. Stay out past midnight. Decide to walk out by the lake with our flashlights. Hanging out, talking, but I could not shake this weird feeling. Hear girlfriend say she saw something huge, so we turn our lights off. Sit there in silence for a moment. Then we see it. It's just a gigantic figure. It was pitch black outside, but this was even darker, and it rose almost as high as the trees. We all start bolting to the truck. It starts after us. Flashlights stop working. Couple of us trip and fall, but promptly get up. Get to the truck and haul 20 gallons of ass out of there. Be me, 21. Woods in south central Louisiana again. Very near our home at the time. Hanging out again. Same friends as before. But we brought our German Shepherd along because he is a fucking bro. Finally get past the swampy part and into the real woods. Gotta cross a sort of ditch before we enter. It is literally nothing. Like the little ditches at either side of small town roads. Dog absolutely refused to cross it. This dog will follow us to town when we leave unless we lock him up, but he still ain't following us now. He is also a hunting dog who's crossed canals and small rivers just to get a duck. Still ain't doing it. Decide to go home. Next few days, he is super spooked. It begins to worry us. Take him to a vet. Vet asks us if we saved him. Saved him? What? From a bad place, like a traumatic home or something similar. No. We had him since he was 8 weeks old, bought from a pro hunting dog trainer. Well, he's obviously been through a bad ordeal. All we could think was, what the fuck happened in that forest? Go home. Still, after 3 days, he is jittery, kind of worse. Weeks after Wood's incident, he gets out. He never runs out of the yard in a way like this. Search the neighborhood up and down for him. He is not there. Search around all night. Nothing. Around 6 a.m., I tell my friends I have a bad feeling. We head back to the forest, to the ditch. I am shaking just typing this out. I have never told a soul about this. See the ditch, but there is something different. The 2 trees by the ditch were now pointing in opposing directions when they were completely straight last week. I noticed this because of the lack of shade. But in the middle was something I will never forget. A hole just past where the ditch is, where the dog would not cross. Not really a dug-up hole, just a sort of crater, but not smashed up. Like the ground deflated in a 6x6 area in between the trees. Sure enough, there lies our dog in the hole. We were so numbed by this, we just crossed the ditch and collected him without caring about what could kill us. I buried him underneath his favorite tree with his favorite toy, a large squeaking duck toy with one missing eye and a couple of stitched up holes from when he dug the cotton out as a pup. We only talked about it once after this. It upset us so much, we all stayed over and drank in an attempt to forget we brought it up. I only got buzzed, unfortunately. Look, I'm a college graduate, a former US Army officer, and currently a paramedic. I am no nutjob, but I truly believe in this kind of thing. I don't dwell on it much, but I got to thinking about it tonight and thought I would share this with you. Have a good night, all of you. This one is personal, sort of. I used to work at a bar as a barback. One day, a few weeks after I started, a coworker told me about the haunted painting in the basement. I thought he was fucking with me. I had been all around the building, and I have never seen no basement. He told me that it has been the only object in the building since it's changed hands twice. He only knows this because of the Mexican cooks that worked there since before the business was ours. The story goes, the painting is always at a 45-degree angle off-center. Over the years, people have tried correcting it. Every time somebody touches the painting, bad things will happen for weeks until it just dies down. People getting hurt in seriously freak accidents, disembodied voices and footsteps, pieces of the ceiling falling on guests without cause, and nightmares. I told my coworker to show me where it was, and he did. Sure enough, there was a trap door to the basement, under a rug by the service station. The first thing you see when walking down the old wooden stairs is the painting. It really is there, still at a 45-degree angle. Like my previous story with the axe, I noticed the basement walls are covered in dust, but the painting is not. After I saw it, I went to hang with some friends across town. On my way back on the highway at about 5 a.m., I thought to myself, I am gonna touch that fucking painting. At that very moment, the hood of my car popped up, blocking my view of the road. I pulled over and was lucky no one was around. I was driving a '93 Oldsmobile, and the hooking mechanism is so solid for the hood, it's basically impossible for that to happen. After that, I decided not to touch the painting. A few years later, I left the business. I still stay in touch though. I had tried to do as much research on the painting as I could. I could never find the artist or the painting online, but I found out it's of Eototo, which is like the Odin of Kachina for the Hopi tribe. Coincidentally, a Hopi was working as a cook there years later. I told him the story, and he said he would ask his grandma about it because she would know such things. She said, white people would not understand. According to her, Eototo is upset because the image of him is in an unexpected place, the basement. She says the haunting would stop if it was properly showcased in the building, somewhere high where everyone could see. I looked up Eototo, and the god seems very undemonic and pretty easygoing, but the hauntings always have a very dark tone to them. This is going to be a long post, but I need all the background information and details of everything in order to convey properly what I need to get across. There was a camp I attended every summer when I was younger. It was set back in the woods, right on the outskirts of a state park. I loved the camp and always went back year after year, usually twice a year, once for a youth camp and once for a family camp. But something strange happened one year that I thought was a distant memory, but recent events have brought it crashing back to the forefront of my mind. When I was 9, I was there for the family camp. At the southernmost part of the grounds were blackberry bushes that I always liked to eat from. One day, I went and started eating right off the bushes like I normally did. After a few minutes, I went to exit the bushes when I heard a noise behind me. Turning around and not seeing anything, I started continuing out of the bushes when I clearly heard a rustling in the foliage directly behind where I was. I turned around and was frozen in fear, knowing I should get out of there, but could not move. Suddenly, something small and fuzzy popped its head through the underbrush and looked right at me. Having no idea what I was looking at, I ran in fear. The thing actually gave chase, and I knew it was following me because I could hear it the entire way as I ran back toward the dining hall at the center of the camp. When I got back to the small parking lot downhill from the building, I turned around and it was gone. I told my dad, my mom, and pretty much anybody who would listen, but they all chalked it up to me being a 9-year-old with an active imagination. Even some playing the whole, "Oh, it was a snipe. Do you want to go snipe hunting" card. I feel like people were not taking me seriously the rest of the time I was there. After camp was over, I had a super vivid dream that I was back in the berry patch. Only now, there were 2 bears there. One was black and in the position where the creature was, and the other was similar to a panda, but bigger and was holding me. I knew the black and white one was trying to protect me, while the black one was trying to harm me. The dream went down the exact way it did in real life, only when I ran, the white bear gave me my escape. Again, I told my dad, and he said things along the lines of, "It was just a dream. There's no pandas here in America. Black bears won't bother you," etc. 2 years later, I saw the creature again, this time with my mom and an older friend of ours. It was then that we realized it was a baby fox. I thought it was so weird because I had never seen an adult fox on the campground. We left it alone, and it just vanished on us. Over the next few years, I would always see an individual baby fox here or there at the camp, but never an adult fox, and never more than 1 kit at a time, and it always looked like picture provided. It was strange. Eventually, after I became an adult, I found out they had removed the berry bushes, and, although I returned to the camp several times, never saw another fox afterward. Years later, I discovered the missing 411 phenomenon, and started looking into the interesting disappearances of these people. Having always had a fascination with the strange and paranormal, this was right up my alley. Even stranger still was the Fae theory that had been kicked around online. This missing Fae 1-1 theory really does explain 99.5% of all these cases, and even if I don't actually believe in such a thing as fairies, I always find these stories fascinating. I was looking at a list of a bunch of similarities these cases had in common. Young men and boys, European, usually Germanic in descent, come uprising around the forest like national parks, boulder fields, berry bushes. Oh. My mind went into overdrive when that came together. I immediately began piecing the puzzle together from 24 years ago. I was a round boy of Germanic descent. Grandmothers on both sides were Germanic. Blood tests show I am 24%. Outside State Park in a berry bush, I saw a fox kit, but never an adult fox for years. Every time, it looked the same as well, no matter how long it was in between the sightings. And to top it all off, if it was just me that something strange happened to at the camp, I would just say that was weird and move on. But there was another story about 7 years after mine. I was still at the camp, the time during youth camp. A 12-year-old just vanished from his team in the middle of a game. He was there one moment and gone a few minutes later, completely vanished. Us campers were rounded up and gathered in a building as they looked for the camper. He was eventually found, but 3 miles away from the camp, on the side of the road, saying how he didn't really know how he got there. He just said something about going to visit his grandfather, but he was from the city. His grandfather did not live anywhere around near the camp, and if he was going to town, he was found the completely wrong direction. The kid could not explain how he ended up there though. He was confused on the whole issue. I just find it interesting that where he vanished was within a rock-throwing distance of the berry patch. So here I am wondering, years ago, could it be possible that I was almost Fae abducted? Or am I overthrowing this and just jumping to conclusions? I used to work at a fast food joint during the summer a couple years ago. We had 3 very strange, very disturbing incidents ever since. First story, 11 p.m., closing time, vacuuming inside near the back of the eating area. Rest of my coworkers are in the office or kitchen clearing up. Look outside and see a man standing there staring at me through the glass. He looks at me for a full minute and then I go to get my manager. We go outside and tell him that the store is closed and that he has to leave right now. He nods his head and walks off and almost gets hit by a car without even blinking. Next morning, work opening shift. Find children's clothes with the tags still on them in the garbage outside and M&Ms scattered on the front porch. I should have quit right then and there, but things got stranger still. Strange event number 2. Closing time again. This time, fewer people are here. Just me, my manager, and 2 other coworkers. Working in the kitchen tonight, so that means taking out the trash with someone else. Me and my coworker go to take the garbage out, and we are laughing about a joke when suddenly he goes dead quiet. I look at him and then see that same guy from earlier was behind the dumpster. We ran inside and told our manager and called the cops. They find more kids' clothes, only this time they had the tags off and blood on them. Manhunt begins for the creepy guy. One more story left. This next one is where the shit hits the fan. Strange event number 3. Working a friend's hours for the night because he was sick. Closing time yet again. Decide to disassemble the shake machine. 11:01 p.m. We have that creepy motherfucker from the past 2 events come into the restaurant before we lock the doors. My manager tells him to leave because we are closed. He just stares at us with that same freaky gaze, only now he looks slightly frustrated. He turns around without saying another word and walks out. I shit you not, next thing he does is stand in our drive-thru and start humming. We called the cops immediately and they finally got the guy. I quit a week later. I was done with that shit. Apparently, the guy suffered from some heavy PTSD from the Vietnam War and kept trying to buy clothes for the kids he killed. Thankfully, the blood on the clothes the second time were his own, and he did not hurt anyone. He kept coming to our restaurant because before it was even a restaurant, it was a Salvation Army. He was trying to donate the clothes. Freaked me the fuck out though.